Hi, my name is Shaninlea Visser. I'm also known as Shan. Before my tragedy, I lived a normal life in South Africa. I became a quadruple amputee due to septicemia. I was in a coma for nearly 2 weeks in early 2017. While I was in the coma, my hands, feet, nose and lips died, and I was told I needed to have my hands and feet amputated. To date, I've had 66 surgeries, with approximately 20 more to go, to reconstruct my jaw, mouth and nose. I have remained positive through all of this and believe that can't is not a word, and that you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. This show is to motivate and inspire others through my story as well as my guest story. Welcome to my show. Today I have Zola with me. She's an amazing guest and she is suffering from lupus. She has done incredible work to try and create awareness for this incurable autoimmune disease. Hi Zola, welcome. How are you today?
Lovely, thank you so much for having me. I'm good, no complaints.
Good.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us a little bit about what lupus is? Because I'm sure a lot of people, they've heard the word, but they're not too sure what it is.
Yeah. The biological term for lupus is lupus systematic lupus erythematosus. So what that means is that it's an autoimmune disease. Think of it as your body has healthy tissues. It attacks any single tissue at whatever rate, or it's very unpredictable. So because it attacks everything, it can be very fatal and very dangerous. It can attack the joints, which means that you can't move. It acts like rheumatism. It can act the organs, which is not very good because you can go into organ failure. Absolutely. And it can also attack the skin, where you can have multiple rashes. The reason why it's incurable is because it attacks so many things. There's not one drug that can solve the issue.
So you're on many different medications.
Yes. If you think of lupus looks like many other conditions. It can look like cancer. It can look like rheumatoid arthritis. It can look like another
eczema.
It can look like eczema. That's why it's very difficult to find a cure. And so the treatment that you have is similar to what other medications are, like your other diseases, but doesn't solve anything. It just maybe puts it in remission.
Suppresses it a bit.
Yeah.
What lupus do you suffer from?
The lupus that I have is called discoid lupus and lupus nephritis. So discoid lupus is when it actually affects the skin. My skin is looking okay today, but what it does, it actually puts dents and holes in your skin. The other type of lupus that I have is lupus paniculitis. So what that means is that at any time, any presence, whatever, it forms tumors wherever. So I used to have a tumor on my arm, and it doubled in size. I also had one on my hip, which also really, really increased. The biggest one that I had that took about a year to heal was on my face. So on the one side of my face, which is completely inflamed. And when I say it was like this, I'm not exaggerating. So it was like that on the one side and the other side as well. So it happens whenever it feels like attacking. So I always have to make sure that I'm eating right, or I'm taking my medication, but there's only so much you can do. It's unpredictable.
You obviously battle with your immune system. How do you protect yourself from the outside?
I prefer to stay indoors quite a bit in my own space.
Yes.
Go out when I need to go out. If I do go out, obviously I wear a mask, hand sanitize, of course, but I do tend to stay away from large public spaces.
Groups.
Just because it's just not worth it. And that's okay. Just means that social circles adjust. And I don't go out as often. You just have to make those sacrifices.
And now, you said that you had to leave work. What career path have you taken now?
Right. So what I was doing, I was in the media space, so journalist, producer, working on different productions. And I also filmed and edited, and I was very on set like we're doing today.
Yes.
What happened was, when I got really ill, I wasn't able to work at all, but I was getting clients that would consistently call me, Zola, can you do this for me? Zola, can you do that? And I couldn't do it. So I referred a number of my friends to do it because they were active. And I realized that was actually a model that was working. It wasn't a business model then, but it just evolved naturally, in that I decided to create a business that I don't have to physically do the work, but I can refer freelancers to do the work. And that's what it does. So I'm still living out my passion, but in a different way.
Now, I know that you are busy with an NGO company to promote awareness for lupus.
Yes, yes.
How's that going? And how can people like get more information about lupus?
Yes, well, you know, I've had it I was diagnosed in 2018 and I really went through the roughest time. I mean, you know, obviously going hospital in and out. I'm in hospital for like 18 months of my life, just sitting there all the time, multiple blood transfusions, you know, bone marrow biopsies, etc. And, you know, different diagnoses, different diseases that come through. And what I realized was that in South Africa, there's not a specific organization that's focused on lupus. Yes, you do have some organizations that do, but it's all I'm saying is that the best way for me to combat this is to not make it about myself, right? It's called Beyond Lupus for a reason. It's beyond myself, and the best way to do that is I posted just a post on Instagram stories, because that's where I'm
Social
active.
media is amazing nowadays.
Social media is amazing. And I just asked, you know, what does your ideal foundation look like? And they came back to me with all their different responses. And I'm taking those different responses and I'm molding it into something that can actually serve this person with the condition.
Yes.
There's different pillars. The first pillar is to raise awareness, you know. People know about cancer. They know about you know, maybe AIDS or whatever, but they're not familiar on what lupus is. So that's the number one thing, raise awareness. The second thing is speak to the patients. How can you help those patients? And I don't have an exact answer right now, because it's their contribution, and that's what it is. The third pillar is that there is an element of like raising awareness, raising funding, so that you can help the wellness, right? Mental health, medical build.
Big thing.
It's so big, and there's just different elements that some people have medical aid that can protect them, some don't.
And a lot of South Africans don't.
A lot of South Africans don't. And it's not even about awareness for the general public, which is important, but awareness for doctors. I was rushed to the emergency unit a couple of years ago, and I said, you know, I was having the biggest flare-up. And they were asking me, you know, what's happening? Is this a bee sting? Is it an allergic reaction? And I said, no, it's lupus. And the doctor, the GP there, gave me a blank stare and was like, what's lupus? And I explained to him, it's an autoimmune disease that has different side effects. And then he actually Googled it. So in front of me.
So he didn't even know?
He didn't even know. So in front of me, he was Googling my symptoms, Googling what it was, and I actually had to inform advise him on what it was. So it's honestly more than the public awareness. It's literally the doctor's awareness.
I know exactly what you're saying with regards to medical funding and stuff, because I am on medical aid. My medical aid's been brilliant, but unfortunately, with my legs, the osseointegration procedure that I need to have done, it's never been done in South Africa.
Right.
So they've actually declined the procedure because I don't know what the success rate is.
I see.
And people think because you're on medical aid, you know, you can sit back and everything's covered, and you know. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's things that they're going to decline.
Oh man!
You know, and you're going to have to think of other ways of trying to bring money in.
Right.
So yeah. Now, your support system at home, has it been good? How's your family been towards this whole thing?
Oh my word! Don't make me tear up. Oh man, no. Whew. My family have been honestly amazing. I guess I can say that the reason why I can sit here and talk about it and be confident talking about it and getting through it is part of it is my family, that they were very supportive. You know, I remember I was in hospital and I was kidney failure, and they told me that I've got kidney failure and that I might have to have dialysis. And I was like, what am I going to do? I have to work. What am I going to do? Medical aid.
How are you going to support
what
yourself?
am I going to do? Purpose. And my sister just looks at me. She said, Zola, your job is to get your kidneys right. That's all you have to do.
Yes.
That's all you have to do. And those words might sound minuscule, but that meant the world. It meant that they've got me. They've got me health-wise.
They got your back.
They've got my back. And that's the biggest factor that helps.
And your life going forward, what do you want to achieve? Is there anything else that you want to achieve besides getting the awareness out? And
yeah.
Do you have children?
I guess, you know, I always say that lupus was the wake-up call I never knew I needed. I never knew I needed to readjust my priorities in life which means family before everything.
Yes.
I never knew that I needed to take a break, to take a breather, not be a workhorse all the time. And I never knew that there were other things out there that I can look at.
Yes.
You know, maybe I don't have to be traveling around the world constantly. Maybe that's not what my purpose is.
Yes.
And going forward, I have to work with this condition as I am. It's the bestie. It will
Yes.
always be there. It's unpredictable. But it gives me a sense of joy and happiness and a little bit of relief to know that, you know what, maybe this is what my calling is. Maybe part of my story is being a storyteller. I've always been a storyteller, but maybe I am the author of that book, you know?
Yes.
And it's not just the start of a new chapter, but the start of a whole new book.
Yes.
And that book is sharing stories in a different way. And that would be the lupus story. And that would be the story to say that I'm more than my disease.
Yes.
I'm not just a lupus warrior. I'm not just someone that has kidney failure. I'm not just someone that has lupus discoid and has flares and bumps and rashes. I'm more than that.
You Zola.
I'm Zola, you know, and that's the biggest thing, I think.
That's amazing,
Yeah,
Zola.
yeah.
Amazing. Now, in this show, we like to give our guests a word, and you just need to think of what comes to mind when I give you this word.
Okay.
And today, the word is resilience. Now, when I think of resilience, I've had 66 operations so far,
Right.
and every operation I know that I'm getting closer and closer to the end. So that's what resilience. It's something. It's my end goal. I know I have to go through it.
Yeah.
I can't sit back and think, oh, another operation. You know,
Right.
I've become resilient to that, and I think that that's what
Right.
resilience means to me.
Yeah.
When you hear the word resilience, what do you think of?
Thank you very much for sharing that as well.
It's only a pleasure.
I think that is resilience, because you're going through something and you just got to get through it.
Yes.
And you get through it. I mean, I know I'm talking about you, but I definitely, I'm really impressed by that. But I also understand where it comes from,
Yes.
that you don't have another option. That
Yes.
This is your option.
Yes.
To get through it and survive. You know, when you're literally fighting for your life, that is resilience. But yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
When I think of resilience, I think of turning pain into purpose. And once again, assigning myself that I'm more than the condition, that yes, it's painful, and yes, you have to go through being in hospital all the time, being poked and prodded. Sometimes the doctors don't even understand what you have. You know, they have
Yes.
to consult the international organizations when your skin biopsy gets taken to another country to understand what it is, and then turning that into a purpose. So for me, it's saying, well, this is what I have. I'm going to live with it forever. What am I going to do with it?
Yes.
I don't just want to sit by and just live with it. Who can I connect with?
Yes.
What can we do to drive change? What can we
Yes.
do to create impact? And I think that's, for me, that's what it aligns with, turning pain into purpose.
For purpose.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Zola, for joining us today
Oh,
and for
man.
sharing your story with everybody. Just a quick one. Is there anybody else out there that you can? A lot of people obviously don't know what lupus is,
Yeah.
and they maybe for the first time heard it,
Yeah.
but there might be other people, celebrities or something that have it that people aren't even aware of.
The biggest celebrity that I can say is Seal.
Okay.
Yes. You know that scar that he has on his face?
Yes.
That's from lupus. So when I
Was it a tumor that caused that, or
it's the discoid lupus, where you get almost like a slight change, deformity in your face, and sometimes it heals, sometimes it doesn't, and that's the scar that's stayed there. Yeah.
I never knew that. You taught me a new thing today.
So that's what lupus is, and I actually have discoid lupus, and on my legs I have those scars. So his is more prominent, and he's done a phenomenal
has.
job, and I can maybe understand why he hasn't really talked about it, because it's not really very well known. The next one is Toni Braxton.
Has she also got
She
it?
has lupus. It affects her heart. So she has the cardiac version. Remember I said lupus affects your organs? It affects her
yes.
heart. I mean, look what she's doing. I mean, she's a very well-known singer.
Yes.
But she has taken a bit of a break and away from the spotlight because she has to focus on it. So that's another one. Another one that I can say is Selena Gomez, the younger generation, singer of Disney Channel star, but also her own up and coming. She has lupus. She has lupus nephritis, which is what I have, and she actually had a kidney transplant a couple of years ago. Because if she didn't have a kidney transplant, then kidney failure. Yeah. Another one is, I don't know if you know Nick Cannon. He was the one that was married to Mariah Carey.
Oh, that was, yes.
He also has lupus as well.
So there's quite a few celebrities out there.
Yeah.
And it's strange that the awareness isn't being pushed because of the celebrities that actually have it.
Can I tell you why? You can look at Nick Cannon, you're like, you don't have lupus. You can look at Selena Gomez, you don't have lupus.
But I could look at you and also think you don't have lupus.
Absolutely. So it doesn't always have a look to it, and therefore I don't think it's very digestible. But internally, there's a whole war. Internally, your white blood cells that are your soldiers, they've left the base.
Yeah.
So it attacks anything. The condemning thing about having lupus is that people say, well, you don't look sick.
Yeah.
But there's actually a whole lot of things that it's internal and also mental as well. And I can imagine that's why. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do the awareness. And I can also share that they probably don't want to do it because they don't want it to define them, the stigma as well.
And that's what we need to get out.
Absolutely.
We need to get that stigma away, that this is the norm.
Yes.
Society puts you into a box, and that's not exactly how everything goes.
Do you know what the saying that I love to say is always, despite your condition, you are a warrior.
Yes.
And within being a warrior, you can say that I can be both. Look at you right now. Yes, you've got your 66 operation. That is a part of your story.
Yes.
But you can also be a talk show host. And that's okay, and you can align it. And a lot of people can be that. You can be both. And I think that's part of where that resilience comes from.
And I chose to be a warrior, to carry on and not sit back and think, let me just give up because of what I've gone through. I've always managed to share my story, but not the nitty gritty and exactly what I went through.
Right.
It took me a while to be able to open up to that part. I could always tell everybody I went through septicemia and I lost my legs and my arms and my nose and all that. But exactly what I went through and what happened, I wasn't always able to open up. And some of the photos I had never seen before.
Oh, wow.
And I asked family members that had opened up a group while I was in a coma, to update family members on how I was doing and what I was going through, that I asked, please, can I see photos? And I think it was only at the beginning of this year that I started becoming strong enough to actually see all of that. And I thought, let me get it out there and make people aware of what can happen and what septicemia is, and to just share motivation and try and be inspirational to them that everybody has their problems and tomorrow's a new day.
It is.
Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. I guess acceptance as well. I think also, I'm sure you've had to accept what you have to share.
I have to accept it before I can expect other people to accept it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Zola, for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and that you've come here to share your story and make people aware of what lupus is and your day-to-day experience with it. To everybody out there, just remember, it doesn't matter what hardships life throws at you. You can overcome it if you put your mind to it. Till next time, take care.